Chaz Lanier and Jahmai Mashack officially hear their names called in the 2025 NBA Draft, a moment Chaz Lanier describes as a surreal feeling. Now, the pair had two very different stories, but they shared one common theme. They embraced the tough coaching from their head coach, Rick Barnes, because they wanted to reach the next level. They wanted to be the best version of themselves, so they hung on every single word their head coach said. And now the league is gifted with a pair of volunteers. And the duo, no doubt, also brings a level of hunger the NBA has been missing for quite some time. I'm Paige Dower. This is the Field Pass on Full Disclosure. This was also Chaz Lanier just moments after being selected number 37 overall to the Detroit Pistons, where a moment that was a childhood dream was finally realized.
I mean, just get ready. Get ready. It's going to be an exciting season, and we're going to get after it, and we're going to win.
Teammate Jahmai Mashack, who hears his name called number 59 overall to the Memphis Grizzlies. He'll stay in the volunteer state, and that pick really highlights how that organization really is defense first. And being a Naismith Defensive Player of the Year finalist, that also too highlights more than anything else how much he prides himself on his defense capabilities. But what he did differently this year, maybe compared to seasons past, is in how he impacted defenses. Not just about getting steals, not just about forcing turnovers, but wanting to control the possession on defense. And that's how he gets his name called in the 2025 NBA Draft. And for Lanier, he needed to do a better job capitalizing on his quick release, be more of a complete offensive player.
It's quick. It is. I mean, he gets rid of it, and it's hard to guard because obviously you don't want to put a guy like that on the free throw line with three.
And after adjusting to the pace of the SEC, he's going to have to take that up several notches now that he's in the NBA and how fast that pace is, because that was the biggest hurdle Chaz Lanier had coming from North Florida to the SEC was, yes, you have one of the quickest releases that we've ever seen, as you heard from Rick Barnes just a moment ago, but you're going to need more than that to get some space to be able to get your shot off. And we heard that a lot throughout the season a year ago and how he was trying to really become a complete offensive player. And oftentimes that just took some close range shots, right? Like go get a paint touch, get something baseline so that will open up your perimeter shot. And he did just that.
My previous year at Tennessee really helped me get ready for the next level in a numerous amount of ways, especially on defense and on the offensive side, being able to play faster and just do everything a step faster.
And that's what made practice so entertaining, or what made the game so entertaining. But when you could see them going up against each other, Chaz Lanier versus Jahmai Mashack, offense versus defense, and it's, Chaz Lanier trying to get away from defenders blitzing him. It's Jahmai Mashack who can blitz every square inch on the court for 40 minutes in the game. And his ability to do that all has to come back to his insane level. And please, somebody help me find a different word than insane, because I do not think that really captures how insane Jahmai Mashack was in his preparation. If you remember all of our conversations from the regular season, it's his attention to detail that allows him to be this relentless defender, something even his assistant coach and Rod Clark caught on to way back when they were in the tournament in the Bahamas.
This is, few hours before the game. It's right before we go down to leave, and he's laying on that bench, stomach down, watching his phone. I'm like, man, what you doing, watching YouTube? He's like, oh, yeah, I'm just watching Jeremy Roach highlights. So the dude he's about to go guard in 2 hours, he's watching highlights of him on his own. This is completely like no one asked him to do this.
So he'll likely sign a two-way contract, develop a little bit more offensively likely in the G League, but I don't think it'll be long before he is in the NBA on a roster. Somebody who could make a near immediate impact is, of course, going back to Chaz Lanier, because he did develop so much on offense and he did become a decent contributor on defense as well. But I think for Chaz Lanier, when we talk about maybe like that hunger, right? You could go to all of the conversations and press conferences that we heard between Rick Barnes and Chaz Lanier and just like how much Rick really did apply pressure to him to be better. And you could go back to a comment he had to the SEC Network in February where he says like how much he's just praising Rick Barnes because of how much time and effort he poured into him and just how special that is and how he felt so loved by Rick Barnes because of the attention that he got from his head coach so that he could be this better player. Then you go to Chaz Lanier getting drafted and his comments after the game just really highlighting that, this wasn't a normal journey, but he's glad that it ended in Tennessee and helped him get to the next level.
A little bit unorthodox to get here. God has blessed me immensely, and I'm just super excited to be here. This is a surreal feeling on draft day to hear a name being called.
We're talking about growth. Let's look at his 2023 season at North Florida. Let's look at the 2024 season at Tennessee. He got a little bit better in a number of categories. You could even do points per game. It was 18 points per game in 2024. It was 19.7 in 2023. But you also kind of have to look at the teams that they're on and what kind of role they need out of them. But you could even go from his accuracy. He shot 39.5% in 2023, moved that to 44% from three in 2024. And let's remember, that was in the SEC, and he became more accurate because of that tough coaching. And I think why this fit with the Detroit Pistons makes so much sense, because Cade Cunningham, who went number 1 overall to the Pistons in 2021, he needs a little bit of support when it comes to shooting, and he shot about 26 points per game is what he was averaging. So getting somebody like Lanier to get in there and to complement that is huge.
It's been a whole lot of hard work to get up until this point. And I'm just super excited.
Let's not forget, according to ESPN, Sakai Ziegler has also signed with the Detroit Pistons to be on their summer league. So it'll be really nice to see that duo together, whether it's just outside of practice, but just to have each other to kind of work with, both being up there in Michigan. And it's not every NBA draft that teams are able to find this diamond in the rough late in the second round. But the Memphis Grizzlies, they did just that with Jahmai Mashack. They're getting somebody who is just hungry to be better, to prove themselves, and to have an opportunity. Jahmai Mashack is somebody who is just practicing and refining his skills and has this type of hunger where he just wants his opportunity. And he's like, the way that he plays, he's like, you're not going to regret giving me that opportunity. If we look back to maybe what he did a season ago, he averaged 6 points a game, 4.2 rebounds per game in the senior season. Those were both his highest marks in his 4-year career with the Tennessee Volunteers. And who could forget that buzzer-beating 3 against the Alabama Crimson Tide? That was certainly a moment to remember and certainly solidified his legacy with the Volunteers. Of course, many fans a year ago were hoping that it'd be Dalton Connect to get to the Memphis Grizzlies, but of course it was Edie from Purdue. So that will be an interesting pairing depending on how those two develop together. But I think at the end of the day, Mashack and Chaz Lanier are different in where they need to improve. Chaz needs a little bit more on defense, and Mashack needs a little bit more on offense. But regardless, I think they're going to be really impactful players in whatever role that those organizations dictate them to be in. They're going to make a difference. They're going to make a change, and they're going to elevate the floor for both of those organizations. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens next. But a truly remarkable moment for both of these players. And after Chaz Lanier was drafted, he had just one more message for Vol fans.
Vol Nation, I love you. Thank you for changing my life and pouring into me. Knoxville is my home forever now, and I love you all.
Certainly a fulfilling moment for both of those BFLs as they embark on their NBA careers and have the backing of Vol Nation to follow them in their journey. But we'll be back Monday at 11 a.m. for more on Tennessee athletics. I'll talk to you then.